Hello everybody, and welcome back. Last time we finally forged the Trident of Uncle, and right now we are about to enter the Sea of Time. So let's get to it, shall we? And here we are back again. So, last time we could not get through the currents, but now that we visited the Yalam and we learn about the children's song, if we just circle around the structures over there, we can actually make the currents disappear. And also, if you've already played the game before, and you may already know that you don't actually need to visit Yadon in order for the structures here to become active. If you just already know what to do, you can get to Poseidon as soon as you gain access to the Lemurian ship. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that without the Trident, Poseidon is invincible, as we'll see soon enough. But anyway, right there we just went past a strange rock that resembled a star. That signified the end of the first verse of the Song of the Album. Here we go. There we are. You do have to take a couple of turns around the small structure here before the currents disappear, and if you happen to do it at a point in which you're positioned a bit too far, you may have to do it once again, because you may not be in time to go through the current before it reappears. Such as right now. Oh well. Luckily we made it. Okay. Okay. This one is actually the toughest one. Luckily, if we mess up, we don't get taken out of the Sea of Time. We just have to do it again. And I think we may have to. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it on time. Nope. Ah, we did. Alright, so we're almost there. And a couple of things. First off, I gave the Trident to Sheva, and in preparation for the battle ahead, I already switched out everybody's gene. But, anyway, here we go. And here we have, finally, the last obstacle before Lemuria, Poseidon. He is level 39. He has 4905 HP, 162 synergy, 302 attack, 100 defense, 185 agility and 47 luck. He has a Venus, Jupiter and Mercury resistance of 100 and a Mars resistance of 25. And he has a Mercury elemental power of 115. He normally used 2,930 experience points, which then become 3,809 if we finish him off with a margin. He drops 3,762 coins, which then become 4,890, and he has a guaranteed drop of a Psi Crystal. As for his commands, he has the basic attack, the Counter Rush monster skill, which basically sets up a counter similar to the Reflux gene. The Ocean Fist monster skill, which oddly enough is not a Mercury attack, it is a standard attack with an additional 50 points of damage and it may reduce a target's HP to 1. The Typhoon Blow monster skill, which is a Mercury attack with a power rating of 150. And by far the scariest move that he has is the Watery Grave monster skill, which is again a standard, not a Mercury attack, with a power rating of 130, which may drown the entire party, so it's entirely possible to lose once he uses Watery Grave. And then he has a bunch of synergies such as the Deluge, Ice Missile and Plywell. And technically, one additional ability that he has is that if we don't use the Trident on him, he is invincible. But before we actually do use the Trident, I want to set up the party a little bit. So first I want to quickly boost the attack of everybody, because I of course want to get the EXP and coin boost on Poseidon. There we have Typhoon Blow. let's get Kindle back. And I'll take this opportunity to actually show what happens if you use a normal attack on it. Yeah, Poseidon is protected by a force field. Now we have Ocean Fist. Alright, it did not take Felix down to 1, luckily. Alright, now we're ready to start. In this battle in particular, similar to the battle with the Aqua Hydra, Jenna and Felix will be the ones dealing the most damage, but Sheba can actually take charge here by using the Trident, and I'll have Pierce for backup. $240 damage, pretty nice, and his force field is now broken. So after that we have no further reason to actually use the Trident, but it deals a decent amount of damage. So I think we're going to be doing that with Sheba for the remainder of the battle. And I believe that was almost 900 damage in total, so let's keep it up. And Pierce can just heal up everybody. Uh-oh. Hopefully nobody dies from this. Alright. It wasn't that bad, luckily. Okay, so far so good. So we'll repeat the strategy of Planet Diver, and Trident for 2 more turns, and then we'll start using our Mars gems. Oh boy. Let's see. Alright. We've been pretty lucky so far with Watery Grave. Hopefully it will stay that way. So after this turn we'll start using all our attack Mars gem. Alright. And unfortunately everybody's attack went back to normal. So let's use Char nonetheless. Sheba can just use Impact on Felix. And actually let's try to completely boost his attack before he gets to go. It should be enough to take out Poseidon, but hopefully. Let's see. Nope, not enough. Alright, let's use Cannon and then heal everybody up just to be safe. There we go, finally! 3809. Felix leveled up and learned Condemn. And Jenna also leveled up. And everybody leveled up. 4890 coins and our Psychris. And right before he dies, he somehow summons a bunch of rocky spires. But more important than that, we are finally at the heart of the Sea of Time, and here we have Lemuria. And we actually have another section of Lemuria that we cannot explore right now, because we have that giant rocky spire blocking our way. But nonetheless, we have finally reached our destination. And we can see that we have quite a massive pier for a bunch of Lemurian ships. But before we reach Lemuria, we have a simple moving puzzle right here. Why? That was synergy, wasn't it? Are they adepts? Who are you? Are you the ones who defeated Poseidon? Yes. That's quite something. Who are you that could defeat that leviathan? If you are strong enough to defeat Poseidon, you are too dangerous to enter Lemuria. The king's orders are clear. We cannot grant you entry. King? Who is your king? His Highness, King Hydros, of course. His Majesty has ruled over Lemuria for centuries. King Hydros has decreed that Lemuria must be kept safe from dangerous outsiders. You say that we are dangerous, but do you include me as well? Pierce! Did you join them in battle against Poseidon? Impossible! Everyone knows you possess great courage, but you still are a mere Lemurian. Such comments do us all a great disservice. I battled fiercely alongside my friends. Leave our landing to me. You have my word that we shall create no problems during our stay. Will you not permit us to enter? Pierce, I know you are a man of your word, but the king's orders must stand. You understand that we cannot simply ignore the king's orders, don't you, Pierce? What is King Hydros doing? So, you people really take your king seriously, don't you? Insolent pup, do not dishonor the king of Lemuria. We are peaceful, but quick to anger. Pup? I must be twice your age. Who are you calling pup? You wish to see Lemuria, and yet you know so little of us. I am far older than you. Show respect. Older than me? Inconceivable. Actually, Creighton, these two are perhaps older than all of you combined. Bobby must have spoken of this to you. In Lemuria, time passes quite slowly. Well, I suppose I recall something of that sort or another. Maybe. But to imagine for a moment that these two gentlemen are older than I am, it's a bit much. But perhaps I was rude, and I hope you accept my apology. My ignorance misled me. Well, just so long as we're clear on that. But if your fighting is as skilled as your wordplay, then perhaps you aren't so dangerous to us. That's quite a clever insult, actually. I agree. Perhaps His Majesty will provide an exception in their case. King Hydros might be willing to reverse his order if we confer with him, wouldn't he? We shall speak with him at once. King Hydros has been seeking news from beyond the Sea of Time. He will want to see you. Wait here. How long do you think we'll be waiting? Good point. Time means little to most Lemurians. Mere moments to us could seem like a lifetime to outsiders. You seem young to me, and yet you are probably an old man among your people. I would imagine that you have probably done enough waiting in your lifetime. King Hydros instructed us to be kind to the elderly at all times. They seem trustworthy enough. Shall we let them in? I can see no reason not to. We won't get in trouble, will we? I will be with them. Now, please, let me walk the streets of my home once more. I beseech you. Then we place our trust in each of you. You may enter, but don't do anything rash. If you cause any trouble, we'll hunt you down and exact swift and terrible vengeance. Do we have your word? So I'll come back to this particular yes or no question in a moment, but for now let's answer yes.
Ooh! Finally! What could be waiting for me in Lemuria? I cannot wait another moment.
Oh, hush. I'll keep a close eye on them. You have nothing to fear. Very well, Pierce. We place our faith in you, then. Enter freely and peaceably. You must already be aware of this, but you are not permitted to enter the palace. If the king were to find out about this, we would be in big trouble. Don't worry, I won't let that happen. Is this Hydros really so fearsome? Fearsome isn't the right word. King Hydros has lived longer than anyone. He is most wise. While everyone respects him and holds him in great reverence, it would be a mistake to call it fear. I certainly do not fear him. The king, he what? You will understand once you meet the king yourself. But that does not matter now. Let's go! To Lemuria, the city you all been longing to see. Alright, so before we finally enter Lemuria, back to that specific question when the guards asked us if they could trust us. Right here, there is actually a hidden line of dialogue that you can access. But in order to do that, you have to fulfill a series of kinda tough conditions. In order to basically get the hidden line of dialogue that you get from Kraden, you have to, pretty much from the beginning of the game, as soon as you step into Indra, whenever you're presented with a yes or no question, answer in any way that would either hinder your progress throughout the story, or in any way that would seem out of character for Felix. That is to say, for example, maybe demanding a reward from the mayor of Madra, or agreeing to side with the mayor of Alafra in chasing Briggs. Any way whatsoever that would seem completely out of place or out of character. And if you do that, well, you get access to 2 different lines of dialogue, depending on whether you answer yes or no to the previous question. So I'm going to quickly show those on screen. But thank you for speaking honestly. Sometimes you can say the weirdest things. I was actually a little bit worried, to tell you truly.
What? Are you insane? Or maybe you think you're funny, because you're not. Maybe this whole quest is just a game to you, but it's not to me. Are you bored? Do you want to go home? Fine, that's it. Then let's go home.
Alright, now that we are done with that, let's finally enter Lemuria. Alright, so, first things first. For one, I'm going to ignore most of the hidden items here. There are some, of course, but I'll leave those for later. What I really want to do is speak with pretty much everybody here. I cannot remember the last time we had visitors in Lemuria. Not in a great while, certainly. More of the same, today and every day. Nothing around here ever changes. In Lemuria, we do not grow old. It must seem quite odd to those from the outside world. I've aged so slowly, I no longer fear death, but at the same time, I have no motivation at all. Drinking from the spring restores vigor and vitality. Want a sip? Actually, that would be a good idea. So, There's no inn in Lemuria, but that is how you can actually heal yourself. These turtles have lived in the spring forever. It must be that water that does it. So, if you play the original game, the spring here may seem familiar. For now, I'm going to ignore that.
Oh! Goodness! Felix, look over here! This palace is magnificent! This place is remarkable, truly remarkable.
Who goes there? I have not seen you in Lemuria before. Wait a moment. You must be the travelers who arrived with Pierce. Is your name Felix, perchance? Pierce? You mean Pierce, the lost one? Have I earned a title in my absence? Well, worry not. Pierce is lost no more. I seek counsel with King Hydros. Has His Highness been told of my return? Word was sent, but I do not know if it has reached the king. What do you mean? Lord Conservato is meeting with His Highness as we speak. Not Conservato. What's wrong, Pierce? You don't look pleased to hear that name. Creighton, what do you think of what you have seen of Lemuria? It is a magnificent city. Or do you mean the castle? Both are magnificent. And you, Felix, do you agree? Well, actually, the first time I actually reached Lemuria, the first time I played it, I was a bit underwhelmed, because everybody talks about it so much in the first game and in this one, so I was actually expecting a little bit more, but just to go along with Creighton, let's say yes. Any newcomer to our town would doubtless feel the same at first. In ages past, Lemuria was a far lovelier, more grand and more lively city. His Highness, the King, tells of a days gone by, of a more brilliant Lemuria, long before my birth. Over the countless years, our people have lost vigor, enthusiasm, creativity. Lemuria has fallen into a slow collapse, a city that has lost its spark. Lemuria as you see it is only a shadow of the city of legend. If only I had the chance to see the city in all its splendor. But how does Conservato figure in? King Hydros believes that our decay is related in some way to alchemy. Alchemy? King Hydros wants to find a way to stop the ruin of Lemuria. If there were anything we could do to help stop it, we would. But the senators are unwilling to take action. They're stubborn, and they fear any change. Senate? What is a Senate? The Senate is a group of elders who determine policy in Lemuria. Lord Conservato holds the highest office in the Senate. The Senate usually opposes any new ideas or proposals introduced before it. Word of our arrival will never reach the king as long as Conservato has his ear. And his conversations with the king are incredibly long. We have no choice but to wait patiently here. Why don't we spend our time looking around Lemuria until then? Alright, so we'll have to ignore the palace for now. Let's continue talking with everybody else. Life never changes here in Lemuria. It can get rather dull, you'll find. Sometimes I think the buildings fall apart faster than we age. How old am I again? I quit counting after I turned 200. and that was long ago. King Hydros is far older even than I am. How old is he? I have never been outside of Lemuria. I don't know what the rest of the world is like. If there weren't laws prohibiting us from leaving, I would be gone in an instant. Who knows what wonders lie across the Sea of Time? I would love to know, but I cannot stand places with little culture and no advanced civilization. Now that Pierce has returned, maybe he'll share his tales of the outside world with me. The Senate passed a law that prohibits us from leaving, but Pierce was carried out to sea by the tidal wave. He can't be blamed for that. I ought to feel surprised to see outsiders here, but I cannot remember how to be surprised. Long ago, a man named Lumpa drifted to our island. That was quite a surprise. Someone else came with him, but he fled so quickly. What was his name again? So he's talking about Bobby, of course. And right here we have the House of the Senate. Let's go inside, shall we? Are you the warriors from beyond the Sea of Time who returned with Pierce? Yes. What can you uncivilized louts hope to bring to Lemuria? Was that some form of synergy? Yes. Ho ho ho! We Lemurians are masters of synergy all. Your powers are not special here. I would argue against that actually, because for what it looks like most Lemurians are actually water adepts, so the ability to read minds should be something special to them. What does Hydros think will happen if he sets alchemy loose on the world again? Come what may, I cannot approve of anyone setting alchemy loose on the world. All of the members of the Senate must remain opposed to breaking the seal. As long as we remain united, King Hydros cannot take any action to complete his plan. Long ago, the power of alchemy was abused in ways that might bring about the end of the world. Because it was sealed away, the king claims, the world has begun to wither and decay. Ever since alchemy was sealed, time itself has seemed frozen. In my mind's eye, I do not see anyone who will go along with the king's plan. Has Lemuria fallen into decay, I ask you? Nay! Only by casting aside alchemy has the world been saved from itself. Certainly, Lemuria has lost some of the splendor that once filled its streets. But to think that alchemy could restore this is madness itself. And now, rumors abound of a group of fools who are actually attempting to restore alchemy. It is only because alchemy was sealed away that the world has enjoyed this lasting peace. If alchemy were loosed upon the world, people would fight again to control the Stone of Sages. Alchemy must remain sealed away, if for no other reason than to avoid this strife. So it would seem that the senators pretty much think the same way that the elders of Baal did. They don't think that releasing alchemy is anything short of the destruction of the world. Do you seek to know more about the draughts that provide us with such longevity? Sure. Once, Lemurians battled special draughts to live here and travel through the world. A man named Babi stole the remainder of our precious draughts and fled Lemuria. So it's not that they don't have the means to create the draughts, since they are not allowed to leave Lemuria, they have no point in making them. Even though we no longer prepare the draught, the water of our spring sustains us. So that's also the other reason why. The draught pretty much works if you leave Lemuria, because you are not exposed to the water of the spring. But if you live here, you can just drink this from the spring every day, and you'll live far longer than anybody else. We are the only children in Lemuria. I often wish there were other children to play with. Are there other children in the lands beyond the Sea of Time? Are there other people? It has been many years since a new child was born in Lemuria. Lemurians love children, but they only remain children for such a short time. Everyone spoils me so much. I don't ever want to grow up. but in another 20 or 30 years I will be an adult. Oh well, at least it's some kind of change. So from what we gathered so far, it would seem that life in Lemuria is extremely dull, and everybody has pretty much lost any purpose in living, really. It's almost like their longevity is more a curse than a blessing. Are you the travelers that came here with Pierce? Yes. I am sorry it has taken me so long to visit, Uncle.
Pierce, you are alive!
Yes, I managed to survive against a great many trials. What a fascinating coincidence! We stumbled across Pierce's uncle's house. I must thank you all for looking after my nephew. This is Felix and Creighton. They are my friends and have aided me tremendously, and I guess Jenna and Sheba will not get an introduction. If my sister could only hear how timid young Pierce has become a mighty warrior. Where is my mother? We've been so busy since we arrived that I haven't had a chance to see her. Now that I think about it, this place is a mess. What happened? Mother is always so neat.
No, she hasn't fallen ill again, has she?
There's still illness in Lemuria? My mother was born with a weak heart. Pierce, I'm sorry. Your return comes too late. After the tidal wave washed you to sea, your mother suddenly fell ill. The shock of losing you was too great for her poor heart. She held out hope for your safe return until the very end. Perhaps your mother gave herself up to ensure your survival. Does that not sound like your mother?
Where is she now?
She rests in the cemetery now. Check the headstones. You will find her. What should we do, Felix? Should we follow Pierce? No. You're right. Pierce probably needs some time alone right now. So, let's go. Wait. I ask that you leave Pierce to his mourning for now. Now he is struggling with the loss of his mother. He needs time. You came to Lemuria to learn more of alchemy, did you not? I suspected as much. Pierce was right to bring you here. Pierce told me his secret, the mission he was given by His Highness, the King. Even had the tidal wave not carried Pierce off, he would have left us. Such was his fate. You look confused. Pierce told you about this, did he not? No. Curious. I cannot understand why he would do that. If Lord Conservato had not led the Senate to oppose him, he would have left sooner. I wonder what news Pierce has brought with him. Either way, I don't know why he has brought you here. Felix, don't tell me that he hasn't at least told you that much. Did Pierce tell you nothing before bringing you here to Lemuria? Unfortunately, I know little more than that. While Pierre confronts his sorrow over the loss of his mother, you have some time. I shall write you a letter, so that you can see Lumpa. Lumpa has locked himself in his tower and rarely comes out, but if I send him this, he will see you. All I need is a bird to carry it to him in his tower. There, you should be able to see him now. Alright, so let's head for Lumpa's tower. And here we are. Are you kids Pierce's traveling companions? The door's broken, I'm afraid. But I opened up a window just above the door. Sorry about this, but you'll have to climb through there. That's fine. Luckily, we can use slash. And there we go. Honestly, I am amazed that anyone can travel so far across the world in this age. Say, Pierce isn't with you. Why not? His mother passed away. He's gone to visit her grave. Of course, his mother. He loved her dearly. A terrible loss. It must be hard on him. Well, Pierce may not be here, but we still have much to discuss. If Pierce brought you, you must be working to break the seal on alchemy, right? Yes. Ah, Pierce has done quite well in finding you. What mission could the good King Hydros have assigned Pierce? What? Pierce has told you nothing of his mission. Really? So you actually have nothing at all to do with alchemy? Our parents were kidnapped by the Fire Clan far to the north. We're only fighting the lighthouse beacons to gain their freedom, and now we finally, aside from the very beginning of the game, know the true motivation behind, well, Felix and everyone else. King Hydros told me that Venus and Mercury have been ignited once again. Was that your doing? I'm afraid I know nothing of any Northern Fire Clan. But that doesn't explain you, sir. You're clearly not related to these two. What are your goals? Kraden joined us on this quest on behalf of Lord Bobby of Tolby. Bobby? I only know of one man named Bobby, but it couldn't... Master Lumpa, the Bobby we speak of is the same man you knew long ago. Ah, so he's still out there, living in the outside world? Well, that might not be the most accurate way of putting it. Most accurate? My, you certainly have an odd way of turning a phrase. He was living, yes, until recently, that is. So, Bobby passed away, but only recently, you say. When he finally ran out of his mystic draughts, his spirits began to wane. Then, I no longer know anyone in the world outside. But aren't you Lumpa, the righteous thief? I was called that once, long, long ago. Why do you ask? I will bet there's at least one person in the outside world whom you still know. Who would that be? There's a town called Lumpa in northern Angara. A man named Dompa lives there. I settled that village, and Dompa, he is my son. Now, your grandson, the Dompa, rules over your village. Rules? Rules is an ill-sounding word. But it's an accurate one, Lumpa. The Dompa is an evil thief, who has caused much trouble in Angara. What has become of my son? How could he permit such a thing to happen? Master Lumpa, don't you have any idea how old Dompa is? He is as I am, an old man. He may be older even than I. If this news outraged you, why didn't you go and set the Dompa straight? If only I could. Is this the only reason we're here? To bring news of the outside world? No. Yes, I am sorry we were sidetracked. We have much more to discuss. But before we begin, there is one thing I must say. You don't mind, do you, Felix? No. I knew you would agree. I have discussed this with none but Felix, but I have my own reasons for this quest. What do you mean? Only that I have my own reasons for wanting to see the beacons lit again. Why are you telling us all of this now? Because I feel this quest is deeply linked to Lemuria. I thought it odd that Lord Bobby should order me to research alchemy. Hey, wait a minute. Is this what you promised to tell us once we reach Lemuria? Yes. May I continue? Long ago, before alchemy's power was sealed, there were many civilizations as advanced and cultivated as Lemuria. At the moment that alchemy was sealed away, most of those civilizations began to wane, until eventually they vanished. I have formed certain theories now, suggesting that this may be related to the seal on alchemy. Let me get this straight, you felt you couldn't tell us this until we were in Lemuria? And you only wanted to come to Lemuria to test your theories and see if they were true. But even if everything you said is true, what does it all mean? If your theories are correct, the world itself will wane and vanish, won't it, Kraden? Pierce never spoke of this to you, did he? If you came to this theory on your own, you are indeed a wise scholar. We would do well to trust you. What do you mean? King Hydros and I, as well as others in Lemuria, hold the same beliefs that you do, Kraden. You do? Civilizations thrive by building upon the knowledge of the past. Knowledge gained in one generation should be taken even further by the next. Thus, knowledge and learning continue to grow. This is the natural course of civilization. But where is the world today? The great civilizations of old have all withered and vanished. We are all isolated and alone. You have encountered many cultures in your travels. Are any of them capable of building the great sanctums and lighthouses you have seen? No, they are not. But this is not the only sign of the decay you have theorized. I think it best that you hear the rest directly from His Majesty, King Hydros. Yes, Kraden, we shall go to visit the king. Ah, but King Hydros is in council with Lord Conservato. We might not be allowed in. Conservato? That fool. He refuses to acknowledge what he can see with his own eyes. I will meet with the king and press our evidence upon Conservato. Come with me. Ah, stupid door. Ah! Ha! At last, you are open. To the king's chambers! Lumpa ought to be as old as Lord Bobby was, but he has so much energy. He's got a fire in him. I do wish I could have heard more about Lord Bobby, though. But come, Felix, to the king's palace we go. Alright, So, we took out Poseidon and we finally reached Lemuria, and we learned quite a lot about the city. And now we have an audience with the king, but we're going to leave that for later. Next time we're going to speak with King Hydros and see what we can learn. See you guys!